feeling?
What went through your mind?
I mean, it's just super cool. I mean, it obviously just happened, so it's still kind of sinking in. But just super, again, just proud of how this team handles everything that comes their way. How we just continue to do what we do and not worry about what's going on outside of this building. And we're just blessed, super blessed to take part in this upcoming playoff.
How'd you sleep last night?
I didn't sleep very well, honestly. I kept waking up throughout the night, but I'll definitely be able to get some rest today and tonight.
What does this the Big 12 championship and now the college football playoff mean for a guy like you who grew up a Longhorn fan, wanting to come here and change the direction of this program?
Yeah, I mean, it's unreal. I mean, I get goosebumps every time I even think about it. Again, just truly honored to be a part of a team that works as hard, and I know that we're gonna come to play. We played Washington in the Alamo Bowl last year, so it's kind of funny how that all works out. So couldn't be more excited for this amazing opportunity.
Quinn, what was the reaction in the room like when you guys heard the announcement?
I mean, y'all probably heard it. Everyone was going crazy. When we should. I mean, we've worked so hard. We've came so far from some of these guys that were on that 5-7 team to where we are now. I mean, there's no better feeling for those guys, and I'm just glad to be a part of a team that is able to enjoy it that much, because they know what it's like to be disregarded at 5-7.
Three months ago in Bama, you get that big win, the cigars in the locker room. Does this kind of justify making that trip and winning that game, do you think?
100%. I think that's why that Coach Sark and some of those guys wanted to have a scheduled game, pre-conference game of that aspect, because going into Alabama and winning like we did early in the year is a hard thing to do, and for us to accomplish that is awesome at its own, and for it to have worked out in our favor this year has been phenomenal.
Quinn, I know the team's been laser focused on each opponent each week, but was there ever any talk of wanting to win in a way that makes a statement to the college football community?
I mean, yeah, we were focused on the win, but at the same time, we realized and understood that if we went out there and played like we did yesterday, that it would be a very hard decision for them not to put us in. Yeah.
As impressive as you guys were against Alabama way back in September, do you feel like y'all are now playing the best ball you played all year heading into this?
I think so. And if you want to be a championship team, then you have to continue to get better throughout each week. And I think that we've done that. Sometimes it maybe not have showed in the way that y'all see certain things, but I think within this group, I think we've grown and matured and understood that it takes a whole entire game. Maybe that a couple years ago we would not have understood that, but I think now that we've been in those close games and whatnot, and been in some big games, I think we now understand how valuable each minute is.
How would you rate the chances of y'all winning it all?
How would I rate? I don't know. I mean, I'm always going to bet on us because I'm a little biased, I guess.
Can you break down the intricacies of the Washington defense? What do you think has made this team so special? What is it? When did y'all come together and you really thought like something like this was possible?
I mean, I'll go back to this offseason. I think the way that we attack this offseason is different than any team I've been a part of, at least. I think we treated this offseason like it was a normal season, like it was, a big part of our lives. And, the way we trusted in the strength staff and weren't complaining, and we really bought into what Coach Sark and Coach Becton and all those guys are saying, which is cool, especially with the, how certain guys at high levels have like a higher ego maybe, but they all, I think we killed all of our egos and just understood that if we want to go as far as we want to go, then it takes everybody, and you got to put the work in.
Quinn, because the bowl schedule's different, almost a month, you guys are kind of shut down a little bit of football. How will that be mentally to get away from maybe practice, knowing you've got a playoff game coming up in about a month?
For sure, it's definitely going to be nice to step away for a little bit and then obviously jump right back in. But it'll be nice because you obviously have that more time to get some other guys maybe healthy, and get a better understanding of the game plan and whatnot.
Y'all struggled.
Time for a few last
You
ones.
had some issues closing people out, obviously, the games. What do you think made the difference these last two when you guys looked virtually unbeatable?
Again, I think we just went into these last couple games with the mentality that we need to show this committee what we're truly capable of, and I think that extra little motivation helped us exceed what people didn't believe we were able to do.
What's
There's
the
more-
biggest
there's-
difference between you and your team, like, right now compared to playing Washington in the Alamo Bowl a year ago?
I think there's a dramatic difference. We've been in a lot closer games, and last year I don't think we closed out those close games, but this year I think we're more than capable of staying poised and staying level-headed and able to finish out those games.
You have until, I guess, January 15th to decide about the NFL draft. There was more talk about your future over the weekend. Is there anything you want to say about that, or have you made a decision at this point?
No decision. I just trying to win a national championship.
You guys told us coming into the season that the goal was Big 12 championship. Now national championship is on the table. Are you guys overachievers?
I think in the back of our heads, we always knew that if we were going to win the Big 12 championship, that other accolades would probably come with it. So, our bullet is, or our bullseye is now on a national championship for sure.
Jalen, what's the reaction to making the playoff and having a shot to go for natty?
Yeah, feels good. First timers, huh? Man, it's just glad, getting the feeling of, when you start off in the off season, when you start off in January, me making that decision to come back, and then for the team, everybody just all collectively having that same goal of trying to win a national championship, knowing the talent, the type of team we have, the type of team that we built, and then actually be coming this far and then getting a chance to go play for it is huge. Man, everybody was jumping for joy, but that was because that's what we wanted right from the jump, and to finally be in this position, it's amazing to say the least. So.
Do you think, as a member of that 5-7 team, looking back to how much y'all have been through these 3 years, did you ever think this was possible?
I'll say even when we went 5-7, you always want to, we knew there would be way better times going through that year. I think for us, especially after the season ended, I think everybody was more motivated than ever to come out here and play better than that year. Put better games, better tape, better everything. So I'd say I think we did believe, and that's kind of what got us here is just the constant wanting to get better. So.
In your opinion, what was the single biggest factor that the committee said, all right, we're putting Texas at 3?
The single biggest factor? I mean, the win at Bama helped. The win, at their place helped. But I think just, even though we lost the game, our ability to finish the season as a 12-win team, and then, we kind of showed our dominance towards the end of the season. I think that helped as well. So,
Piggybacking off of that point, I asked Quinn this question. I know you guys were singularly focused on each opponent each week, but coming down the stretch, was there ever any talk about, hey, we need to beat some guys by a large margin to really make the decision?
Actually, no. I think just for us, it was just more about, doing our job, doing what we were supposed to do. And we kind of knew that would come. We obviously want, dominant victories. We don't really want it close, but nonetheless, a win is a win, and we do our jobs, and we go to practice, and we compete, and all we want to do is win. So, however that is, it usually just happens. So,
You've seen this Washington team, obviously, a year ago.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on facing Washington?
Yeah, another rematch. Our biggest thing is just kind of getting all this year. Our thing was like the teams that we lost to last year, giving them, our best shot again. And, to see that us and Washington are in the college playoffs after being in the Alamo Bowl last year is kind of it's kind of ironic, But they got a good team. And, I think for us, we're just, ready to finally get a chance to go show what Texas football is.
How do you feel like y'all stack up with these other three teams?
I feel we stack up evenly with anybody that we face. So for us, we just got to go, when it's time to prepare, we got to make sure we prepare right. Everybody's focused, dialed in. I feel like when we're hitting on all cylinders, we're a tough team to beat. So,
Did you have any doubt, like, overnight? Were you waking up in the middle of the night? Were you like,
man? We watched the Bama game on the bus, and then we seen Bama win, and we was like, okay, we got a chance, And then we seen I watched the Florida State game at home, and then that kind of gave me a little doubt, just because you never know. So I think, and then you kind of got those first two spots watching the little the show or whatever. And then you like that third spot, and so everybody's like, "Oh, my heart's starting to beat," like a little nervous, So, but it's fun, and it's kind of cool just because that's just how much everybody cares about it. And when we seen that third spot go to us, everybody just erupted, and it was pretty cool, great moment.
Jalen, did you think different about your team after Bama? I mean, did that kind of change your whole perception of your
The confidence definitely grew after that game. Not a lot of people could say they go into Alabama, go into Tuscaloosa, and beat them, let alone by 10 double-digit points, whatever, 10 points. So that definitely gave us confidence going into the rest of the season. And then I think we just built from it, and then we just continue to grow each week. We lost against OU, but that really didn't faze us. We knew we just played a bad game, and we just had to build from it.
Sark mentioned.
Go ahead.
Sark mentioned last week you guys didn't come this far just to come this far before the Big 12 championship. Is that still the mindset to kind of forget about what you've done already?
It's not so much forget. I'd just say kind of realize what we have done, and kind of use it as confidence. But definitely we're playing some real good teams, real respected teams. So I would say what we've done in the past, the scores we put, or how good we played opponents in the past doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's kind of just moving forward is how we're going to attack this team that we're about to play. So,
does a part of you sympathize with Florida State, especially being a defensive player, because their defense really balled out with their quarterback out, and they won every game. Part of you sympathize with them?
For sure, it's a tough situation to be in. You go undefeated, and they just miss it by one spot. So definitely feel sympathy for those guys because just like us, they put in the same amount of work we did in the offseason. They fought just as hard throughout the season to win those games. So they're still players too. They still got a program, and it's kind of just a tough situation to be in.
Tell me about the reveal. Who was losing their mind the most? Who was over the top in there?
I don't know. I was in the front, so I really couldn't see around. Taff was next to me. He was kind of losing it. I had Barron. I dapped him up and gave him a hug, but it was a lot going on. I think just the amount of excitement was so cool to see. Texas football, college football playoffs for the first time. Man, it's a lot of excitement and a lot of joy going around. So,
How much room for improvement is there still?
a ton. I don't really think there can be a limit of how much you can improve, honestly. Just gotta, understand what the things we need to work on. I haven't watched the tape from the last game, but I really think there's always something you can improve on, whether it be like little, small, minute details or just game plan overall. So we'll definitely dial in and see what we can get better at, and then fix our weaknesses.
Did Sark address the team after you got in?
Say again?
Did Sark just address the team after you got in?
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't say anything.
No. We got a banquet later, so he might say something then.
Jalen, did you worry at all after the OU loss that this chance might have slipped away from you guys? And did y'all pay attention to the rankings throughout the year?
Not at all. Sark did a good job of just, after we lost that game, the one thing he told us was, or he kind of listed down teams that have gotten to the playoffs with one loss. So I think for us, it was never really it never really like kind of crossed our mind of, man, like we lost this game, now our chances are over. For us, it was just about handling business, knowing that we had a small room for error, and that if we lose again, that definitely would hurt us. So I think just our mentality was, got no loss for error.
So the revenge tour continues.
Yeah. So they say. The whole season, huh?
I think over the last 24 or so hours has been a lot of highs around here. And just to, piggyback off of yesterday, what a great moment for our players and, Longhorn Nation to celebrate a Big 12 championship. And regardless of how today was going to go, I wanted to make sure that we continue to celebrate that because I don't want to lose sight of it's been 14 years since we had won one and only 4 in the last 27. So what a great accomplishment for this team. Happy for those kids. And now, kind of the cherry on top is an opportunity to go compete for a national championship, to get into the playoff. And I think our guys have earned it. They've had a great season. I think we're playing our best football right now at the right time. And so we'll get back to work. There's a lot of work to be done. We've got a month till we play. We got finals to take. We got to get healthy. We got to have a regimented practice plan to get ourselves prepared to play. But it's a heck of an opponent. Washington's a great team, as we all well know. We played them last year in the Alamo Bowl. It's going to take a lot of preparation. It's going to take us playing our best football when that game rolls around to try to be successful.
Coach, I could ask Coach Saban the same thing. Does this kind of validate that tough non-conference game?
Well, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful of that because I think for college football, that's needed, right? When you look at the first 3 or 4 weeks of the college football season, if we don't play those types of games, and we're just waiting for conference play to begin, where's the excitement, right? What are we talking about? And so to get that spotlight that we had in week 2. And that stage, I think, was great for both of our programs. And not only from a recruitability standpoint, right? I mean, you see the kids see those games and they're like, I want to play in those types of environments and in those types of games. But I think it was great for our team. That win gave us as much or more confidence than anything throughout the season to help us navigate our way through some of those other tougher games late in the year because it gave us some more belief in what we were doing. And so there's a lot of value to playing those types of games early in the year. And obviously for the committee to recognize that, I think, is big because now hopefully that'll continue to promote more games like that. And even for Alabama, for them not to get punished for playing that game, now it's okay to play these early games and you can overcome that loss, especially when you're still a conference champion.
How exciting is it this year to be able to head in, with the exception of JB, with a more full-strength team after you had those opt-outs last year? Yeah, I mean, I think naturally that's one of the beauties of being in the playoff. You'd like to think you're not going to have opt-outs, right, that you're playing for a championship. And last year was difficult, and so the fact that they'll have everybody there and hopefully healthy, and that we have time to get ourselves healthy, which has been a little bit of an issue of ours here over the last month or so of just kind of little nagging injuries to get our team healthy and an opportunity to put our best foot forward is huge because it's going to be needed. Washington's a very good team, and they're going to be healthy too. They've had their own injury bug that they've been dealing with, so it's going to be a great challenge. Should be a heck of a game.
Was there any part of you that was like even a little bit worried about squeezing the SEC out, knowing you're going into the SEC next year, and then any relief to see Alabama out there?
I wasn't worried about the SEC part of it. I was worried about us not getting in. That's just human nature. You just don't know. I mean, we really did not know, and so that's one of the challenges of the committee and the playoff selection. But it all worked out for us. But I wasn't so concerned about if the SEC was getting squeezed out or not. I was more concerned about us.
How do you put that emotion in the context of just?
Well, what a cool scene. As I was standing there, I kind of took a moment to look at Jalen Ford, Tavondre Sweat, Jordan Whittington, J.T. Sanders, those guys that signed up for something totally different than when we came. And there was, the journey has been difficult at times, and it hasn't been all celebrations and cheers, and there's been some tough moments. So to see those guys be able to have that emotion yesterday on the field after the game, and that emotion right there that they're competing for a national championship, that's why they came to the University of Texas, right? That in your mind when you go to college and, all right, I'm gonna go to Texas, I'm gonna be competing for a national championship. Well, now that's a reality. Now we get a one game, season here, and if we're good enough, then we get another game season. And so now it's just putting forth the right effort and energy to try to make that happen.
Steve, I asked this question to Jalen and Quinn earlier, but I know you guys are singularly focused on each opponent each week, but was there ever a feeling of saying, hey, we got to have some dominant wins, we can't throw jabs against some guys, we got to make a statement to the committee that,
I never referenced to them about making a statement or that we needed to make ourselves look better than we were. I wanted us to play more dominant because I felt like that's what we were capable of, and so I challenged them on that. And I wanted to make sure. I always feel like we're at our best when we really are an attacking style team. We like to be very aggressive play callers on offense, defense, and on special teams, and we want our players to believe in that style of play calling and to trust it and to go get it. And so that was probably a bigger point of emphasis last week more than any. But more than, it wasn't about trying to impress anybody. It was about living up to our standard of what we were capable of.
Coach, you've been in this situation before, obviously, competing for a national title. How do you keep the guys, hungry over the next couple of weeks, and so they don't feel like they've arrived, but also enjoying the moment?
Yeah, I think first of all, today we're going to celebrate the heck out of the accomplishments of the season. So we got our banquet this afternoon, and I want them to enjoy that. This is the celebration of a lot of hard work and recognition for a lot of guys, from team MVPs to scout team players of the year to all the stuff in between. And then they're going to come back tomorrow and they're going to get a lift and a run in. and they're going to do that for 2 weeks. All right, we're going to take a step back from football. We're going to go on the road and recruit as coaches. They have finals starting this week coming up, so we're still student athletes and we want to do really well in school. It's a challenging place. We've got to do well in school. And then we'll start the process of prep, on-field prep, next weekend. Not next weekend, in 2 weeks, okay? And those will be a couple more developmental type practices, working with our younger players. And then that following week, in the middle of the week, we'll start digging into really starting to prep. And so the goal here, we should get about a total of about 12 to 13 practices before the ball game. But the majority of those, about 9 to 10 of those, will be really dedicated to playing the game. So we've got a pretty good blueprint for making it work. It's all timing predicated on, the day of the game, which now we know, and then making sure that we give our guys some time around the holidays to go home and spend some time with their family, but still remain fresh, but also remain hungry. Because the worst thing you do is peak too soon, and then the game plan starts to feel mundane, and then you go into that game not with the right energy. We're at our best when we're an energized group and we're hungry, and so we'll try to build towards that as we get closer to the game.
How do you feel like you stack up with these other three teams, and what do you think are your chances?
I mean, I feel good. I've always felt like, man, if we can get in, we can play with anybody in the country. And part of that is, I think the versatility of our team matters. We're good up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. We've got real playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, whether it's wide out, tight end, running backs, quarterback. We're really starting to create the turnovers on defense, which is important. We're defending the run really well. We've been an excellent special teams operation all year long. Bert Auburn's had a great year. Ryan Sanborn, Will Stone, Keelan Robinson, Xavier Worthy. We're blocking kicks. So I thought the versatility of our team and that we're a complete team really stacks up with just about anybody. I haven't had a chance to really dig into all three of these teams outside of, I know, Bama a little bit because of the prep. But they're all great teams. They're all got really good coaches. They're not in this tournament as a fluke. And so it's going to take our best effort in preparation and then ultimately in performance to be successful.
Is there any irony in the fact that this is another team you played last year and lost to?
A little bit. Yeah, there's a little bit there. Just thinking back to how the season went this year, how the Big 12 championship went and our opponent there, and now Washington. So a little bit ironic, but in the end, I think coming out of last year's game, I don't know if everybody outside of us really understood how good Washington was. That was a very good football team, and they've continued to do it. You know, they continue to win and find ways to win. They're a complete team as well. So, like I said, we definitely have our work cut out for us.
When you came here, you know, when you're out there firing the cannon or you're shaking hands with Earl Campbell, you talked about what Texas was and what it meant to you. You're a fan of college football. What does it mean for you to get Texas back into this sort of rarefied conversation?
Well, it's why I came here. You know, I was referencing this the other day that, you know, there became a point when I was at Alabama when, all right, I'm going to be a head coach again, and I want to go somewhere where I have a legitimate chance to win championships. And when this opportunity came, to me, this was the no-brainer because I know what this place can do, and I understand there's high expectations and a high standard here for winning championships. But that's why I came here. I wasn't naive to think that, oh, I just get to be a head coach and ho hum and win 8 games and everything's going to be great. No, you're brought here to compete for championships year in and year out, and so now to be here in year 3. This is why I came. And so, and I never wavered off that with our players. You know, I stayed consistent with that through 5 and 7 and through 8 and 5 and even into this season. And I like I said, I'm grateful for our players that they believed in me of the path and the process that it was going to take to get to this point.
You've said when you were a young coach at Washington that you don't have the perspective, or you didn't have the perspective that you do now. What perspective change has happened the most that's allowed this to happen?
I think the connectivity with the people. You know, I think from a football mind that hasn't, you know, you just try to evolve and get there. But my connection with the people around me has definitely changed in the fact of like the appreciation for the hard work that everybody has and that everybody puts in, the appreciation for the moments as they come and slowing down to enjoy the moments as they come. So I was saying earlier, like, we're going to celebrate being Big 12 champions today. Like that, I don't want that to go unnoticed and just, hey, now it's on to the playoff and let's go win a national championship. No, let's slow down. Let's appreciate being Big 12 champions because that took a lot of hard work and that was an accomplishment that so many guys are I know just so excited about. I know I am. So I think it's slowing down a little bit and appreciating the moments along the way, appreciating the people along the way, and not being in such a rush for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Sorry, also you do it in the Final Four team format. I mean, you'll be just excited next year if you're in it, I'm sure, but still there's got to be some satisfaction to get at least one time in that 4-team format.
Yeah, very cool. You know, next year is going to be a totally different scenario with the 12 teams and how all that's going to play out. And so, to get into this, it really being kind of a 4-team, 2-game playoff is unique. But one thing that for our players, since we lost the OU game, it's been a playoff game every week. It's been a Big 12 championship game, and it's really been a playoff game every week. And so the goal for us is to maintain our regiment, maintain our routine, because this is a very cool opportunity that you play one game and you win and you get to play for a national championship. And so, the key to the drill is staying focused on the task at hand and not get caught looking ahead. And the task is the Sugar Bowl against Washington. And like I said, it's going to be a heck of a challenge.
Steve, piggybacking off of Chip's question, you talked about the connection with the players. Does that just come with age and experience, or was there a seminal moment here at Texas that's like, I'm going to make a dedicated effort to build that connection as opposed to?
No, I think that started a little bit for me when I was an assistant in Atlanta and then at Alabama. My connection to those players at Alabama was real. And part of that was we were going through COVID, right? We were going through civil unrest, social injustice. There was a lot of things that were happening at that time. And so I felt like, and L'Oreal and I just felt like we need to pour into these guys. And this is a different experience. And so we did. And it was difficult to leave at that time because I had grown really fond of those players and had recruited some of those players. Bryce Young was there and was like, I'm leaving after 1 year. We just got here together. So inevitably, when I came here, it felt really natural just to start that process again. For the players, it was probably a little bit unique and different. Like, why is Coach having these types of conversations with us, or why is he having these one-on-one, meetings with me and talking nothing about football and talking about life? And in the end, now that's the norm. And now that they're very comfortable with me I got my own handshake with DJ Campbell now on the field, or I have, just different things that I can talk to the players about that allows them to see another side of me, but then also know when I do go to raise my voice about something, or when I do talk very sternly to them about something, they know, hey, he's serious about this. We gotta get this fixed and get this right. And so I think that's part of the trust. When you can be vulnerable and honest with somebody, and then all of a sudden when the tone shifts, they go, okay, this is we got to get this right, get this fixed. This is what Coach needs. And they keep doing it for me. And that's the coolest part, is that they keep following through. And as long as I continue to follow through, they'll continue to follow through, and that's probably the most important
Coach,
part.
as you go on the road recruiting, as you said this week, before you've been able to sell UT and been sell kind of the hope of what could be. Now that you've kind of achieved this, how does that change, or at least add to your recruiting pitch to guys?
Well, I mean, I think it's helpful. A lot has happened in our time. The record speaks for itself, from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. The transition from the Big 12 to the SEC and what that looks like, leaning into the previous couple recruiting classes that we've signed and what this roster is looking like. And now it all kind of coming to fruition with a Big 12 championship and now playing in the CFP. And I think it just continues to build upon each thing as we go. And so hopefully it's helpful. I would imagine it is. But again, we'll see here in the next, 2 to 3 weeks, whenever signing date is. I don't even know.
Have there been any tears of happiness, and if so, what caused it? What was the moment?
I haven't cried yet. I've probably felt it. You feel certain things, and it's more about just the moment. I think about moments of, like I said, those players that I know of what they've been through. Like I said, Jordan Whittington always stands out to me because I know what he had been through from an injury standpoint. The moment when when Jonathan Brooks is out there with our guys, when we're taking a knee in the victory formation, like those little moments you feel, right? And feeling that moment in there with those guys and us making the CFP, or after the game, you get dumped with water and having a moment with your son on the field. Like those things are those moments that I'm talking about that sometimes you miss, but I've tried to make it a point to really feel and be part of. And so I don't know. I'm sure at some point there'll be a tear. Just I haven't had one yet.
Have you heard from anyone in particular that meant like, wow, this has crystallized it?
I haven't looked at my phone yet. It's been buzzing, but I haven't looked at my phone yet. I'm sure there'll be a few people in there.
Is there a play that stands out to you, like a singular play from this season that kind of defined it, whether it's, Jade stop at Houston or 80s catch at TCU?
Wow. I don't know if there's a singular play. I would say the goal line stand against Kansas State, because that took some real resolve. That took 4 plays in a row of different players making plays. It wasn't about one player. It wasn't about one just phenomenal play. It was about execution. It was about a variety of players doing their jobs really well. It was about supporting one another and picking each other up when Quinn is out that game. Malik's starting. We had been turning the ball over offensively, and our defense found a way to win that game at the end in 4 straight plays. Probably that sequence of plays is something that stands out to me, because I think that's what this team is made up of, and so I probably lean into that sequence as much or more than anything.
Quick injury.
Did you talk to Nick Saban at all at that game in Tuscaloosa and said, well, we'll see you again in January maybe?
I didn't, but I'm going to call him today just for fun. Yeah, I'm going to call him today.
Quick, did you sleep last night? Like, what was your
I finally went to sleep. I didn't go to sleep right away. I got done watching those games last night. I think like we all were watching, and I remember saying, all right, I'm going to head to bed, and I got in the bed, and I wasn't sleeping. And I said, I'm going to go out to the couch, and then I was on the couch, and then L'Oreal comes out a couple different times. You okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I just can't sleep. So I don't know when I actually fell asleep. It was probably pretty late, and so that's how it goes. When you do all that you can do, you feel good, but in the end, you're like, man, is there anything more I can do to make sure that we can get in this thing? And fortunately for us, we had done enough to get in.
Quick injury update. Do you expect to get Watts and Austin Jordan and Worthy?
I feel very confident in Worthy. I feel very confident in Ryan Watts. Yeah, Austin Jordan, I feel good, but we'll see how he recovers.